The Praetorian Guard. Chapter 19. Shadows on Lados. The invisible ship cut through the darkness of space like a ghost, its engines whispering as it approached the arid planet of Lados in the Pax Range sector. The planet's surface stretched below them, a wasteland of red dust and jagged rocks. The weak atmosphere gave the landscape an otherworldly glow, casting long shadows under the pale light of distant stars. Perfect for hiding a base, hidden from the eyes of the Empire and from any prying satellites that might pass by. As the ship hovered silently over the planet, Marta's eyes were glued to her tablet. She was tracing Ibrahim Valos' movements, utilizing the vast network of orbital satellites and signal interceptors to track him down to a hidden base nestled in the middle of this desolate terrain.
"Got it,"
Marta announced, her voice crackling with a mix of triumph and focus. She pointed at the screen where a blinking red dot marked the location of Valos' hideout.
"Ibrahim's trail leads directly to that base on the planet's surface. Looks like he thought he could hide out here unnoticed."
Sarah nodded, her eyes narrowing with determination.
"All right, team, gear up. We're going in fast and silent. Remember, we need to take these people alive. We need answers."
She glanced at each member of the team, her gaze lingering on John.
"Don't rush to kill them all. We need to interrogate as many as we can. But if they resist,"
her voice grew cold,
"then do what you must."
The ship began its silent descent, its cloaking devices humming softly as they approached the base. No alarms sounded, no guards were alerted. The base remained blissfully unaware of the storm about to descend upon it. When the ship touched down on the cracked surface of Lados, the team moved swiftly. They slipped out into the night, the darkness swallowing their forms as they advanced on the base. The planet's thin atmosphere made every sound louder, but the team was trained to move in absolute silence. The only noise was the faint crunch of sand beneath their boots. The base was a ramshackle cluster of prefabricated structures, barely visible against the rocky landscape. Dim lights flickered sporadically from within, casting eerie shadows on the sand. John's team approached the outer walls, their movements precise, weapons drawn. Sarah gave the signal, and the team split into two groups. John led Mark and Marta to the left, while Sarah took Sun and Salar to the right. They would converge on the central command center in a classic pincer maneuver, cutting off any chance of escape for those inside. As John's group neared the entrance, a guard suddenly stepped out of a side door, his eyes widening in surprise at the sight of the intruders. Before he could react, John surged forward with lightning speed, his plasma sword igniting in a flash of blue energy. He sliced through the guard's weapon, rendering it useless, and in one smooth motion struck him across the chest with the flat of the blade, knocking him unconscious. The sounds of combat erupted around them as the rest of the guards realized they were under attack. The team moved with ruthless efficiency, engaging the enemy forces in close-quarters combat. Mark, ever the weapons expert, fired his plasma pistols with deadly accuracy, taking down two guards in a blur of motion. Marta, despite being the team's cyber specialist, proved her training wasn't limited to computers as she disarmed and incapacitated another attacker with a quick series of blows. Sun, from Sarah's group, deployed a small flashbang that erupted with a blinding light, disorienting the defenders just long enough for Salar to move in, using his precise hand-to-hand techniques to subdue them without lethal force. As they pushed deeper into the base, resistance intensified. John found himself facing a heavily armed mercenary who blocked his path to the command center. The mercenary swung his energy baton with a brutal force, but John dodged the blow with inhuman speed, his reflexes enhanced by the implants he had received. He countered with a rapid series of strikes, his plasma sword glowing in the dark. In a flash, he sliced through the mercenary's armor, sending him sprawling to the ground. Within minutes, the team had fought their way to the command center. John kicked open the heavy steel door, and they rushed inside, weapons ready. But as the lights flickered on, they stopped dead in their tracks. There, slumped over the central console, was Ibrahim Valos. He was dead, his body sprawled lifelessly across the controls, a thin line of blood trickling from a wound on his temple. The sight of his blank eyes staring into nothing was both a relief and a frustration.
Damn it!
Mark cursed, lowering his gun.
Looks like someone got to him before we did.
Marta immediately moved to the console, her fingers already flying over the keys.
Let me see if I can pull anything from this system,
she said, her voice tense with urgency. John felt a chill run down his spine as he stared at the dead mercenary. Ibrahim had been their best lead, and now he was gone. Whoever was behind this knew how to cover their tracks. They had executed Lados before he could reveal anything.
I've got something,
Marta called out, her face illuminated by the screen's glow. She typed furiously, her eyes scanning the data streaming before her.
It's not much, but I've managed to recover some deleted files.
Sarah moved closer, her eyes narrowing.
What do you have?
Marta turned the tablet around, showing the screen to the team.
It's a message, encrypted, but I cracked it. The coordinates and reference lead to the Epsilon Gamma sector. And there's mention of a group of pirates operating there. They seem to be connected to Lados, possibly the ones funding or coordinating his actions.
Sun, ever the silent observer, finally spoke.
If the pirates from Epsilon Gamma are involved, this is bigger than just one mercenary. They're known for smuggling and dealing in black market technology.
Sarah clenched her jaw, her eyes narrowing as she looked around the room, taking in the scattered evidence.
This wasn't just a random mercenary operation. It's organized, strategic.
John nodded, his gaze lingering on the lifeless form of Ibrahim Lados.
Which means we're dealing with someone who knows how the shadows of the night operate. They're always one step ahead of us.
Mark interrupted their grim thoughts, crouching down near the console. He held up a small, crumpled piece of paper, stained with droplets of blood.
Looks like they weren't perfect,
he said with a hint of a grin.
We've got DNA from this bloodstain. Whoever killed Lados didn't have time to clean up.
Marta stood up, determination etched on her face.
We'll run this DNA through the database when we get back. If they slipped up once, they'll slip up again.
Sarah turned to the team, her expression hard as steel.
All right, listen up. We have new targets now. We're heading to the Epsilon Gamma sector. These pirates might have the answers we're looking for. Gear up, and let's be ready to move.
The team nodded, their resolve renewed. As they filed out of the base, John cast one last look at the dead mercenary. The hunt for the traitors and their backers wasn't over. Not by a long shot. With a quick, determined step, he followed his team out into the arid darkness of Lados. The invisible ship awaited them, ready to take them to their next destination. The shadows of the night would not rest until they brought their enemies to justice. The invisible ship hurtled through the darkness of space, its engines humming with a barely audible whisper as it made its way to the Epsilon Gamma sector. The team was silent, their faces set with grim determination. They knew that whatever awaited them on the other side of this journey would not be easy, but they were ready to face it head-on. Marta's eyes remained fixed on her console, her fingers dancing over the controls. She was tracking the signal from the base they'd discovered on Lados, following its trail through the digital ether. After hours of relentless focus, her eyes narrowed, and she let out a small triumphant noise.
I've got it,
Marta announced, her voice cutting through the silence in the cabin.
The signal's originating from an asteroid field on the edge of the Epsilon Gamma sector. There's a base hidden on one of the larger asteroids. It's massive. This isn't just some small-time operation. It's the heart of one of the biggest pirate groups in the Empire.
Sarah nodded, her eyes glinting with a fierce light.
We're getting close. Good work, Marta. All right, team, gear up. We're going in fast and quiet. These pirates won't know what hit them.
John's hands moved on instinct, checking his plasma swords, adjusting his tactical gear, and readying his weapons. The thrill of the hunt coursed through his veins, and the memory of Ibrahim Lados's lifeless eyes spurred him on. Whoever was behind this had to be brought to justice, and they would not escape the shadows of the night. The ship began its descent into the asteroid field, maneuvering carefully between the floating rocks. Marta guided them towards a secluded outcrop, hidden from the main base's sensors. The pilot skillfully brought the ship down to a silent landing in the shadow of a massive ridge, the asteroid's rough terrain providing natural cover.
Perfect spot,
Mark whispered, peering out at the massive pirate base in the distance. The structure was embedded into the side of the asteroid, a fortress of steel and rock that glowed faintly with artificial light.
Looks like a hornet's nest. Can't wait to stir it up. Remember,
Sarah said, her voice low but firm,
we're going in to extract information, not to annihilate everything in sight. We take out who we need to, but our priority is to get intel on this pirate operation. If we have the opportunity, we'll capture their leader for questioning. Got it,
John replied, his grip tightening on his plasma swords. He felt the cold focus of battle settle over him, pushing aside any doubts or distractions. The team moved out, slipping into the darkness that cloaked the asteroid's surface. They advanced with the stealth and precision of trained assassins, their movements silent, their eyes locked on the glowing structure ahead. The only sounds were the faint rustling of their gear and the quiet hum of the asteroid's faint atmosphere. As they approached the outer perimeter, they encountered the first line of defense, a group of heavily armed pirates patrolling the entrance. Sarah gave a silent signal, and the team fanned out, taking positions behind the rocky outcroppings.
Now,
she whispered, and the attack began. John was the first to move, his plasma swords igniting with a blue flare. He lunged forward at blinding speed, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to close the gap before the nearest pirate could react. With a fluid motion, he disarmed the guard, slicing through the man's weapon and delivering a quick strike to his chest, knocking him to the ground unconscious. Mark followed right behind, his plasma pistols blazing. He took out two pirates with precise shots to their shoulders, incapacitating them before they could fire back.
These guys need to upgrade their gear,
Mark muttered with a grin.
They're out of their league.
Sun, ever the silent shadow, moved like a ghost through the battlefield. He threw a small EMP grenade into a group of pirates huddled near the control panel, short-circuiting their weapons and rendering them useless. In the chaos, Sun slipped in, delivering precise, incapacitating strikes to each pirate's neck, knocking them out cold. The team advanced rapidly, their assault unrelenting. Marta, staying at the rear, used her tablet to disable the security systems and redirect the base's surveillance cameras, keeping their movements hidden from the control room.
We're clear to enter the main facility,
she said into the calm, her voice calm, despite the intensity of the moment.
All cameras are looped. They don't know we're here. Move in,
Sarah ordered.
We head straight for the command center. That's where we'll find the intel we need.
The team infiltrated the base, moving deeper into its labyrinthine corridors. The lights flickered as they descended into the depths of the asteroid. They could hear the distant echoes of pirate voices, unaware of the danger closing in on them. As they reached the command center, they encountered a larger group of pirates, heavily armed and ready for a fight. The room exploded into chaos as both sides opened fire. John moved like lightning, weaving through the bullets, his plasma swords carving a deadly path. He disarmed two pirates in quick succession, his blades a blur of motion. Sarah took down another with a precise shot to the leg, forcing him to the ground.
Keep them alive,
she shouted over the din.
We need answers.
Mark provided covering fire, his pistols firing in rapid succession, while Salah used his expert counterintelligence skills to disable their comm devices, cutting off their ability to call for reinforcements. The last pirate standing, seeing his comrades fall one by one, threw his weapon down and raised his hands in surrender.
All right. Don't shoot. I give up.
Sarah narrowed her eyes, gesturing for John to secure the pirate.
We'll deal with you later,
she said coldly, before turning her focus back to the control room. Inside the command center, the team quickly took control, disabling any alarms or lockdowns. It was then that they noticed something unusual. A sealed chamber off to the side, its door reinforced with layers of security.
Marta, get this door open,
Sarah ordered, nodding toward the sealed chamber. Marta's fingers flew over the console, hacking into the system with ease. Within seconds, the door hissed open, revealing a small room inside. There, sitting in the corner, bound but defiant, was a woman with striking features, silver hair flowing down her back and glowing green eyes that stared up at them with a mixture of hope and defiance. Joan's breath caught in his throat.
That's Lana,
he said, recognizing the regal bearing instantly.
the Elvorian princess.
The woman looked up, her face a mask of guarded relief as she spoke in a voice both commanding and melodic.
You're not pirates,
She said, a hint of disbelief in her tone.
Who are you?
Sarah moved forward, her expression softening slightly. You don't need to know that. All you need to know is that we are here to help you. Princess Lana's eyes flickered with gratitude, but she quickly masked it with her usual regal demeanor.
Then we must hurry. If you found me here, they will know soon enough. These pirates, they're involved in something far more sinister than just my kidnapping.
John helped Lana to her feet, quickly cutting through her bindings.
What do you mean?
He asked.
There are forces within the Empire who do not want peace,
Lana said, her voice urgent.
These pirates are just pawns. I've heard them speak of a plan to destabilize the Dominion itself. We must stop them before it's too late.
Sarah nodded, her face grim.
Then let's move. We're not leaving here without answers.
The team, now with Lana in their midst, began their exit from the base. As they moved through the dark corridors of the pirate stronghold, John felt a renewed sense of purpose.
Once they had gathered all the available information, they departed from the base. Sun and Mark then proceeded to plant explosives throughout the facility and on the ships docked at the pier. 10 minutes later, everyone boarded the shuttle, and as it lifted off the ground, a series of explosions erupted across the base, lighting up the sky like a spectacular fireworks display.